In a culture that glorifies chasing, that romanticizes the man who won't give up, who fights for love, who runs after approval, one man chooses a different path. He doesn't chase. He doesn't plead. He doesn't explain his worth. He walks away, silently, with dignity, with inner peace. This is the Stoic man. Grounded, calm, untouchable. And in this video, we'll explore what makes him powerful, why he refuses to pursue, and why his silence echoes louder than any words ever could. Welcome to the Stoic way. You see, Stoicism wasn't born in the age of Instagram or emotional games. It was born in the halls of hardship, war, betrayal, and death. It taught one thing above all. You control your actions, not the outcome. Not people, not events, not opinions. Only you. And in a world that's constantly baiting your ego, that wants you to prove yourself to others, to show you're worthy by what you chase, a Stoic man smiles quietly and declines, because he knows anything you have to chase to keep was never yours to begin with. Let's be clear. This doesn't mean being passive. It doesn't mean avoiding responsibility. It doesn't mean ignoring effort. A Stoic man still shows up, still works, still builds, still loves deeply, but he never chases what tries to leave. Because what walks away already told you everything you needed to know. Now ask yourself, why are you really chasing? Is it because you truly want that person? Or because your ego doesn't like being discarded? Is it because they matter? Or because you don't want to feel less than? The Stoic man doesn't run from these questions. He embraces them. Because through self-awareness, he becomes untouchable. You want to be unshakable? You want to be respected? You want to be grounded, calm, centered? Then stop chasing and start observing. Start reflecting. Start choosing peace over pride, purpose over emotion, power over impulse. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Marcus Aurelius. This is the Stoic path. Not loud, not flashy, not attention-seeking, just solid. And in the rest of this video, you're going to understand why the Stoic man never chases, why he lets go without drama, why his power isn't in how loud he speaks, but in how confidently he walks away. Let's begin. 1. Understanding the Stoic mindset. What does it mean to think like a Stoic? It begins with a single question. What do I control? Your thoughts? Yes. Your effort? Absolutely. Your emotions, your values, your actions? All yours. But what about someone else's decision to leave you? What about a partner falling out of love? A friend pulling away? A boss who lets you go? A group that no longer includes you? That is not yours to control. And yet, that's what most people try to change. We obsess over what they said, what they meant, why they stopped replying, why they chose someone else, why they left. We chase, not because we're strong, but because we're uncomfortable with being powerless. But the Stoic mindset says, you are only ever powerless if you fight battles that are not yours to win. If someone leaves, let them. You don't lose your worth when someone else stops seeing it. You only lose it when you stop seeing it. Let's take it deeper. Imagine you're standing in a storm. Winds howling, rain crashing, trees breaking. You can scream at the sky. You can wave your fists. You can beg for the rain to stop. Or you can calmly step inside, close the door, light a fire, and choose peace. That's the Stoic way. Choosing your reaction over chasing control. Choosing clarity over chaos. And understanding this core principle. It is not things themselves that disturb us, but our opinions about them. Epictetus. A Stoic man learns to reframe pain. If someone disrespects him, that's data. If someone pulls away, that's direction. If someone ghosts him, that's a gift. He now knows where he stands. He does not overextend himself trying to be chosen. He focuses on choosing himself every day. The Stoic mindset isn't complicated. It is made of 4 pillars. Wisdom, knowing what matters, what doesn't, and what to do about it. Courage, standing firm in discomfort without escaping or chasing. Temperance, self-control. Moderation, silence over impulse. Justice, doing the right thing, even if it costs you. When a man builds these 4 pillars into his life, he becomes the kind of man no one wants to lose, but who isn't afraid to walk away if he must. Not because he's cold, but because his peace comes first. And so, before we move into the next segment, ask yourself, where are you chasing something that's already moving away? Where are you trading your dignity for a chance at being chosen? And what would it feel like to stop? To let go? To reclaim your power by doing nothing at all? That's not giving up. That's Stoic alignment. 2. The power of walking away, not in anger, but in peace. There is a rare kind of strength. The kind that doesn't shout. That doesn't demand attention. That doesn't explode in anger. It's the strength to quietly walk away. Not with bitterness, but with peace. No slam of the door. No last word. No desperate explanation. Just presence followed by absence. That is power. Most people walk away because they're hurt. They storm out. They curse. They cry, trying to be seen one last time. It's dramatic, emotional, loud. But a Stoic man walks away for a different reason. He walks away not because he's angry, but because he's awake. He sees clearly that staying is costing his peace. He recognizes that forcing connection is dishonorable. He understands that holding on to someone who wants to leave is the fastest way to lose yourself. So he lets go. Not for ego, but for alignment. Ask yourself, how many times have you held on too long? Tried too hard? Tried to prove that you were worth it? And how did that end? Was it satisfying? Or did it slowly erode your self-respect? The man who walks away in peace, he avoids that erosion. Because he honors himself before he tries to honor anyone else. He doesn't cling to what's crumbling. He doesn't chase what resists. He knows, if I have to chase it, I don't need it. Let's get something straight. Walking away is not weakness. It's not giving up. It's not quitting. It's choosing yourself. Because the man who stays in a place where he's disrespected, where he's ignored, diminished, or tolerated instead of valued, that man is not strong. He's trapped. Strength is having the discipline to leave before you're broken, before resentment builds, before you lose your essence just to be loved. Here's the paradox. The man who is willing to walk away is the one people respect most, because he sends a silent message. I am complete without you. I don't need to prove my worth. If you value me, you'll meet me where I stand. If not, I won't follow. And that message echoes louder than words. Think about it. In every movie or real-life relationship where someone chases, where they run after the person who left, text again after being ignored, call back after being disrespected, they rarely get what they're after. Because neediness repels. Desperation pushes people away. But silence, calm withdrawal, peaceful exit, that creates mystery. That breeds reflection. That demands respect. Not because you played a game, but because you refused to play one. A wise man is indifferent to what he cannot control. Seneca, the Stoic, understands. If someone walks out of your life, that's their path. You don't interfere. You don't block the door. You hold it open for them, and thank them for their part in your journey. Then, you move on. Not as a broken man, but as a man who refuses to lose himself just to keep someone else. Let me give you a truth that most won't tell you. Sometimes, the person who walked away from you will return later. But they don't come back because you chased. They come back because you didn't. Because your stillness forced them to confront their own choices. Your silence became a mirror. Your absence created space. And maybe they return. Or maybe they don't. Either way, the Stoic man is already at peace. Because he never based his peace on their presence. So how does a man walk away in peace? He reflects. He breathes. He asks himself, does this serve my highest self? Am I being honored or tolerated? Is this relationship built on truth or illusion? And if the answer is misalignment, he walks, not out of hate, not to manipulate, not for attention. He walks because his soul requires it. And when a man follows his truth, no loss can truly shake him. Before we close this segment, here's a final reminder. The world will tell you to fight harder, to chase, to win them back, to never give up on love. But sometimes, walking away is the most loving thing you can do. Loving to yourself, loving to your future, loving to the truth. Because true dignity isn't found in who you can hold on to. It's found in how gracefully you can let go. 3. Chasing is rooted in ego, not strength. Here's something many men never realize. Chasing someone is rarely about love. It's about ego. When someone pulls away from us, when they ignore us, leave us, replace us, it doesn't just hurt our heart. It wounds our pride. And our first instinct? We want to restore control. Not to love them better, but to prove to ourselves that we're still enough, that we still matter, that we can still win. But let's be brutally honest. Chasing is often about winning, not healing, not peace, not even connection. You tell yourself, I just want closure. I just want clarity. I want to show them what they're missing. But behind all those words, what's really happening is this. You're saying, I can't stand not being chosen. The ego hates being discarded. It hates being forgotten. It hates being second. And so, it reacts. By chasing. By pleading. By replaying the past 100 times in your mind. But a Stoic man, he doesn't let his ego take the wheel. The ego says, don't let them move on without seeing your worth. The Stoic says, if they didn't see it, they were never meant to. The ego says, you can't just let them go. The Stoic says, I don't cling to what's not aligned with me. The ego says, prove your value by getting them back. The Stoic says, my value isn't up for negotiation. Understand this. Chasing is a form of negotiation. It's you saying, I'll trade my peace, my dignity, my time, if you'll just stay. It's a gamble. And you lose every time. Because even if they come back, they didn't come back freely. They came back under pressure. And that's not connection. That's fear, confusion, or guilt. And that never lasts. A Stoic man refuses to chase. Because he refuses to bargain with his worth. He would rather be alone in truth than accompanied by someone who only stays out of obligation. He knows that chasing never creates respect. It creates imbalance. A hierarchy. A silent message that says, I need you more than I need me. And that's the beginning of emotional dependence. Of resentment. Of quiet self-betrayal. Let's go deeper. Why does chasing feel so urgent? It's because the ego links rejection to identity. She left, so I must be unworthy. They ghosted me, so I must be forgettable. They didn't love me back, so I must be broken. But that logic is false. Their decision says more about them than it ever will about you. You can be kind, honest, loyal, and still be left. That's not weakness. That's just life. And it doesn't need to be fixed through chasing. It needs to be accepted with grace. When someone does you wrong, don't respond in kind. Instead, let it be their issue, not yours. Marcus Aurelius. A Stoic man is deeply aware that he has one job: to guard his internal state, to maintain his standards, to live with integrity even when it hurts. So when rejection comes, when detachment shows up at his door, he doesn't go running after it. He doesn't panic. He doesn't perform. He sits with the discomfort and lets the ego burn off, because he knows what's real can't be taken, and what leaves was never truly his. There is a difference between strength and control. Chasing is about control. Letting go is about strength. You are not weak for being hurt. You are not weak for wanting connection. But when you feel the pull to chase, pause. Ask yourself, am I doing this because I truly care about them? Or because I can't stand how this makes me feel? If it's about you, your pride, your ego, your identity, then you're not chasing love. You're chasing validation. And no amount of validation from others can ever replace the need to validate yourself. Here's the Stoic truth. When a man is secure in who he is, he doesn't need to be chosen. He chooses. And if you don't choose him back, he lets you go. Not to prove a point, not to manipulate, but because his peace is not up for sale. So the next time you feel the urge to chase, breathe. Feel the ache. Acknowledge the pain. But then, ask yourself, what would a man with dignity do right now? What would a man with peace protect in this moment? And then choose that. Every single time. Because when a man stops chasing, he doesn't just get his dignity back. He gets his life back. 4. Silent withdrawal is the ultimate statement. In a world addicted to reaction, the man who chooses silence becomes dangerous, untouchable, respected, feared, and often deeply remembered. Because silence, when chosen from strength, is the loudest statement a man can make. He doesn't yell. He doesn't plead. He doesn't send one more message just to feel heard. He simply withdraws. And when he does, the world takes notice. Most people respond to pain by seeking a reaction. They want to say something. They want to be right. They want to be heard, even if it means losing their dignity in the process. But the Stoic man has learned a different path. He understands that true presence doesn't beg for attention, and true self-worth doesn't chase validation. So when someone shows him indifference, when they play games, or disrespect his time, his energy, his love, he doesn't retaliate. He simply removes himself. There is a quiet power in detachment, in the decision not to respond, not to explain yourself to someone who already made up their mind, not to try to be understood by someone who chooses not to understand you. That's not weakness. That's discipline. Anyone can lash out. Anyone can overreact. Anyone can throw emotional punches. But only a grounded man, a man rooted in who he is, can walk away without a single word. And that silence, it leaves an echo that lingers. If someone succeeds in provoking you, realize that your mind is complicit in the provocation. Epictetus. You see, the Stoics didn't just preach stillness. They practiced it. Epictetus was a slave. Marcus Aurelius was an emperor. Two opposites in status, but both committed to this truth. Your reaction is your responsibility. And sometimes, the highest form of strength is the refusal to react at all. Let's go even deeper. You withdraw silently not to hurt the other person, but to heal yourself. You don't withdraw to punish, but to protect. Silence, in this context, isn't passive. It's active clarity. You've seen enough. You've tried enough. You've spoken enough. Now, it's time to do the one thing most can't do. Step away. Without noise. There is no power in begging. There is no power in re-explaining your worth to someone who already dismissed it. There is no power in one more conversation that you already know will lead nowhere. The power? It's in walking away with your posture tall, your voice steady, and your mind still. Because the man who chooses silence over chaos shows that he belongs to himself. And here's the paradox. The more you speak, the more room for misunderstanding. The more you chase, the less you're respected. But the moment you go silent, truly silent, people start to wonder, why isn't he reacting? Why isn't he pleading? Why isn't he angry? That silence is the mirror that forces others to face themselves. And not everyone can handle what they see in that mirror. Your absence teaches what your presence could not. Your silence teaches what your voice could never explain. The people who once took you for granted suddenly feel the space you once filled. And even if they never say it, they feel it. But here's the thing. By the time they do, you've already moved on. Not to make a point, but because you no longer belong in that story. This is why the Stoic man's silence is sacred. Because it's not a strategy. It's a reflection of his soul's decision. A man who can stay silent in the face of disrespect is a man who has mastered himself. He no longer plays games. He no longer explains things 10 times. He no longer proves himself to people who can't even see their own value. He just detaches. Quietly, entirely, and permanently. So ask yourself, where in your life are you speaking too much? Where are you trying to be heard? By someone who's not listening? What would happen if you stopped? If you walked away, with dignity intact, and allowed silence to speak for you? That is the final evolution of masculine control. The man who doesn't fight for control of the world, because he already has control over himself. 5. Detachment is the highest form of self-respect. We often confuse detachment with coldness. We think it means being numb, distant, or indifferent. But that's not Stoic detachment. Stoic detachment is not about disconnecting from life. It's about not clinging to it. It's about being present, but not possessed. Loving, but not needing. Caring deeply, but still being whole when someone walks away. That is true self-respect. A Stoic man learns to let go without hatred, to be alone without fear, to love without chains. Detachment is not withdrawal from love. It's freedom within it. Because when a man is detached, he is centered. He is no longer a prisoner to someone else's presence or absence. He doesn't need constant reassurance. He doesn't need to be chosen. He is already whole. Ask yourself, if they left you tomorrow, would your world fall apart? Would you lose sleep? Would you spiral into self-doubt? If the answer is yes, then you are not in love. You are in dependence. But a Stoic man, he builds himself so completely, mind, body, purpose, spirit, that no one else becomes his anchor. He is his own gravity. What does detachment sound like? It sounds like this. If it's meant for me, it will stay. If it leaves, I won't chase. If it returns, it must return freely. If it doesn't, I will still rise. This is the man who cannot be broken by rejection, because he doesn't take it personally. He doesn't internalize someone else's confusion as his failure. He lets it pass through him, like wind through trees. And ironically, it's the detached man who is most magnetic. He doesn't chase because he doesn't need to. He doesn't cling because he trusts himself. He doesn't react because his peace is sacred. And people feel that. They sense the difference. Because we live in a world full of men who are emotionally hungry. The man who is self-fed, who is rooted, calm, and unmoved, stands out like a mountain in a storm. Mean you don't feel. It means your emotions don't own you. It means you can love without losing yourself. You can walk away without falling apart. You can start again anytime, anywhere, with no resentment. Because your foundation is not in a person. It's in a principle. I choose peace over possession. I choose dignity over desperation. I choose self-respect above all else. That is the Stoic way. So now you understand. The Stoic man doesn't chase. Because he knows what's meant for him, won't need to be chased. He doesn't argue for his place in someone's life. He doesn't explain his worth. He doesn't shout to be seen. He simply is. And if someone can't see that, he lets them go. Not because he doesn't care, but because he cares too much to beg for a seat at a table that no longer honors him. There's real beauty in the man who walks away with dignity. Not to punish, not to guilt, but because his self-worth is non-negotiable. He doesn't need attention. He doesn't need closure. He doesn't need to be right. He needs one thing: peace. Plain your philosophy. Embody it. Epictetus. The Stoic man lives his values. Not in theory. In action. So when the time comes, and you're faced with disrespect, confusion, or loss, remember this. Don't chase. Don't plead. Don't perform. Just stand up quietly and walk away. And when you do, do it not with rage, not with revenge, but with peace. That's what makes you powerful. That's what makes you a Stoic. That's what makes you free.